Welcome to Ransom Kids. You're getting this video because you have expressed an interest in joining our team, which we absolutely love. The more great team members, volunteers we have, the more kids we know God will entrust to us. So we're excited that you want to join us, and this video will cover all the things that you need to know in order to have a successful ministry down here in Ransom Kids, because you will be working with minors. So we'll cover a multiple of things. We will make this video chapter marked in the description so that if you just need to skip to different parts or you just need a refresher on some of these things, you can always refer back to it and click on those and just watch those. Also, I'm going to be putting all kinds of links in the description to other supplementary videos. So when I mention them, you can just go to the description and click on those and watch those. There's some of our how-to videos, things of that nature. I will also put the kind of presentation of this information as a PDF in the description, so you can have that in front of you as well. And last but not least, our handbook. We will cover bits and pieces of the handbook that you just need to know right now and are applicable to almost anyone that serves in Ransom Kids. But the PDF of the entire handbook will be linked in this description. We do ask that you spend some time reading through all of those things. We won't try and cover them in a video. We will just cover the ones that are common to working with minors down here in Ransom Kids. So first of all, we're going to start out with just some of the great things going on. We have seen God do some great things. We've had, I think it's almost like a dozen kids get baptized so far, just this calendar year. And we've had, I'm going to guess, around 20 first-time salvations as well, because God is moving in the midst. We have seen record attendance numbers kind of hit that peak of 300 kids like 4, 5, 6 times. And so that's why we're excited you're joining us, because again, God is going to entrust kids to us when He knows we are adequately staffed to receive them. So our vision at Ransom Kids is we want kids to encounter Jesus so that they become who God made them to be. That's kind of Ransom's big statement, but it works down here in Ransom Kids as well. We're teaching the Bible, we're having games, we're helping them learn some social interactive skills, we're doing small group, large group. All of those things are to help kids know Jesus, encounter Jesus, and to become who God made them to be. Our values are the same as Ransom's. We want to set captives free, even kids. So that means we want them to worship free of inhibition. And you'll see down here when they're worshiping, they're using their hands and their bodies, and sometimes Jesus can't break that relationship. We're using all of those things so that they go and worship free of inhibition, even when they become adults and join their parents upstairs. We want them to live free of sin. Even kids. I know my children, when they were toddlers or maybe even just learning to crawl, they knew what I needed them to do, what I didn't want them to do. They knew the rules, the boundaries. And sometimes, they'd look at me and they would grab that cookie even if I said no. That's called sin, because they have directly disobeyed a command or a rule that they know Dad made, and they decided to break it. Well, that's sin. So we want kids to learn to live free of sin, because sin can bind our kids just as much as it can adults. And then we want them to serve free of self. A lot of these kids, you'll see as they get into 5th and 6th grade, they will come back to Ransom Kids and help out with their parents. And you might have a child, a teenager, or a preteen that you would love to bring down here and serve alongside you. That's great role modeling of what it means to serve free of self. So those are our 3 values. We are strategy set up in a certain way, and it is called a large group, small group model. In all of our environments, except for nursery, you will see these 2 main elements on a given Sunday morning. The kids will spend time in large group. That's where they get their Bible story about how to live free. They will get their worship, how to worship free of inhibition. They might get opportunities to serve and help each other. So they learn their Bible lesson, they learn a memory verse, they sing songs about what it means to worship Jesus, and then they go to small group. So depending upon the age, they will do a small group. So in toddlers, they usually sit around tables and they'll have a coloring page, they'll have an activity page, something to do with the lesson. So like if it's Noah and the Ark, that's the lesson. They'll have a coloring page of Noah's Ark with different animals. Or they'll put stickers on there where the animals are the stickers. And then if they're in preschool, they might actually assemble a headband, or they might, assemble a paper airplane or something like that, that has a connection to the Bible story. When they get into grade school, 1st through 5th, they will actually, after the lesson, go and assemble in a small group with a small group leader. So if you decide to help out in our elementary, grades 1 through 5, you will be asked to lead a small group. Now that's very simple. All you'll get is a printed out sheet of 5, 6 questions that take the Bible story and apply it to the lives of these kids. We don't want them just memorizing the Bible. We want them walking it out, living it out. Living free of sin is living out what the Bible teaches. And so small group questions say, how do you feel you can do this when you're at school? Or when you're at home and you're having a problem with a sibling? How can you not be angry? Because you saw in the Bible, anger, all that good stuff. So we are a large group to small group model. Now our structures in almost every room but nursery also follow the same. They start out when they check in as what we call active play. Doesn't have anything to do with the Bible lesson, but it has everything to do with making connections. Making connections with other kids their age, making connections with you, the volunteers, the team members in the room, because if you're connecting with them, then you have relational leverage if they're too squirmy or if they feel like they have to go to the bathroom but are afraid to ask. We don't want any accidents. So if they know you, they will come to you and they're like, hey, Pastor Fancy, they'll tug on my shirt. I need to go to the bathroom. And you can tell they're a little embarrassed. But because they know me, they feel confident doing that. If I have to say to little Zachary, he's poking the girl next to him, there's a relationship and I can say, Zach, I need you to stop. So that's just active play. And we allow that also because with our parking situation, sometimes parents aren't able to get down into the building until it's like 7-8 minutes after the adult worship has started upstairs. And so that means those kids don't miss out on the real meat of what we're trying to do. So they go from active play, then usually to their large group. And large group has different elements. It has a game or an activity that kind of immerses them in the lesson for today. So if we're talking about baptism, they'll probably play something with water, or if we're talking about Noah's Ark, again, something probably to do with water, that kind of a thing. And then they will have worship, and again, all our worships are free of inhibition, and so we ask that you tried your best to worship along with the motions. Then there will be a Bible story, and our Bible stories, the lesson leader, which you don't have to be unless you want to, but our lesson leaders, they tell themselves and to how they learned this lesson from the Bible, and then we usually have a video teaching part, and then after that, they go to a type of a small group depending upon their age. And if the adult service goes a little long, then they go back to active play as we're waiting for those parents to come and do parent pickup. We also intentionally partner with parents. We have an app called the Parent Q app that we encourage parents to download and install on their phones because each one of our lessons is on that app. So if a parent says, what does my kid learn today? You can go, download this app, and then when you open it up for this week in whatever month, it will have the video lesson that the kid watched. It will have, hey parents, here's some of the small group questions that got asked. When you're tucking your child in bed, you ask this lesson based on the Bible lesson they just had that week. So it's a great idea, a great opportunity for us to partner with parents and equip them to lead their families spiritually. Now, our hope for you when you're down in here and serving free of self in Ransom Kids is that you find a ministry you love. You just feel God's presence moving through you, just loving kids through you, helping kids through you, as if you are the hands and feet of Jesus, and that you love having these kids find a lifelong relationship with Jesus. We're also hoping that you find biblical community down here with the other team members around you. In many of our environments, they have either monthly or bi-monthly or 4 times a school year gatherings of everybody that's in your age environment. So there's always the 8 o'clock, the 9:30, and the 11. And so the toddler ministry will pull all of those team members from all 3 of those gatherings into one night, and they just call it craft assembly, and they will get together and they will work on assembling craft for the next couple of months. But they'll chatter up, they'll talk up. There might be, a little spiritual lifter in there. They can do prayer requests. It's the opportunity for you to feel a part of a biblically functioning community that serves the mission of Christ through Ransom. And so we are hoping that happens for you as well. So now I want to talk about scheduling. How do we schedule you Sunday to Sunday, week to week, all that kind of good stuff? And so we have a database that runs all of this for us, and I'll explain that in a minute. But here's our view and our value. We believe that consistency matters the most. Imagine if you had your child in soccer and every practice the coach changed. On week 1, it was Coach Bill. And then the kids and you show up week 2 and it's Coach Susie. And then week 3 of practice, it's Coach Don. And it changed every time. And then every game, there was a different coach. How successful, number one, do you think that team would be? Do you think your child is going to know who's in charge and who has an authority? Are they going to listen if the coach says, okay, kids, we're going to have to do drills because none of you are drilling, or we're going to have to do passing drills because y'all aren't passing. Then the next coach comes in and they're like, I don't know if we, need to do all these things. So, we'll do something else, and it just doesn't work very well. That would be the same scenario if all of our team members down here changed week to week to week to week. You also know this if your child's in school. The sub should be the exception. The child having the same teacher week after week after week for an entire grade, that relationship helps the learning process. So we ask that you commit to every Sunday for a school year. However, we understand not everybody can do that. Like we currently have some who are in the military and they will have like a week a month that they are on drill. That's perfectly okay. We have some who are in the police or sheriff and things of that nature. And so they are once a month or every other week. They just cannot because their unique job requires it. We have a couple of nurses who have one Sunday a month that's where they're serving in their hospital or clinic or something like that. That we totally understand. So we will work with you with whatever schedule you have, but we want to put the bar high because Jesus shows up every Sunday. We would like you to show up every Sunday if you can. And that relationship that you build, you will be able to leverage and see the fruit of that. So if you can, we would like to have you every single Sunday, but we understand if you can't. Please communicate that. Our database allows us to say for the nurse that's every 3rd Sunday of the month, we can just simply block out every third Sunday of the month, and we won't even call them. We won't even text them. We won't expect them to come. Now, what we have is some tools that we use to schedule you, and what will those look like for you? We use the Church Center app, and I'll put a picture of it, and in that app is where you can see your schedule, and you will get our scheduling notifications. So I'm going to put a picture on the screen of what the app notification looks like. This is off of my iPad. And you will see where it says I am scheduled for a Sunday, a date, and a classroom, and a gathering hour. And then down below on that, you can see that it has kind of in a bluish green, accept, and then red, decline. So if you have committed to every single week or every other week and you get one of these, please hit accept. We can't assume everybody will be here every Sunday. We have to know, I can't have my team coming in on a Sunday morning going, I don't know. Everybody said they're committed, but we aren't 100% sure. So this is our way of just saying, hey, we just need to know. We can't just come in on a Sunday morning and guess and see what happens and say to parents while they're sitting in the lobby, well, if people show up, you can go in the room. If not, you have to take your kids upstairs. So this is our way of just giving parents assurance that there's going to be enough volunteers in their room. So please hit accept. Now, if you all of a sudden get one of these and they go out on Mondays or at the latest Tuesdays, if you get one of these and you just are like, oh no, I forgot to tell my leader that I cannot be there this Sunday, you can hit decline. And then it'll ask you for a reason. Please put that reason in. It just helps everybody stay accountable, those kinds of things. If something changes that's going to be consistent, don't just hit decline. Reach out to me or your leader and let them know. So that goes as a Church Center app, a notification, and I will have a video linked in this description of not only how you can download and install the app, but how you go in the app and turn on your notifications and accept yourself in your Ransom Kids group, and then you will consistently get those notifications. And those notifications also can be like if there's a massive snowstorm, or I think like a year ago we had that massive flood. I mean, we might have to say, hey, there's too much snow, there's nowhere to park, church is closed. Or, there was one time where I think the whole HVAC system here at Ransom went out, and we had to say there's no heat in the building, church is closed. Those kinds of things. You can get those notifications from us as well. You might already be using the app. Some people use that app to give their tithes and offerings. You might already be a parent and you're using that app to pre-check in your kids. You might be using that app to register events. All of that is in what's called the Church Center app. And if you watch that video, it will show you how to download it, install it, connect to Ransom, and then turn on those notifications. If you have any problems, any difficulties, please reach out. My email is phancy@ransom.com. Then the next picture I'm going to show you is an email. When we schedule you on Mondays or at the latest Tuesdays, it goes out as the church notification through the app and simultaneously as an email. And those look almost identical. One is just an app, one is just an email. And so you can see in the picture I'm putting on the screen that then it looks like this on an email. Again, it'll list the actual date of the Sunday, the room and the gathering hour that I've committed to with a green accept and a red decline. Again, please accept those. Because we get to Thursday, Friday, and I haven't had enough people accepting, then I'm getting on the phone and I'm calling and people are like, stop bugging me. I'm like, well, start accepting and then I won't bug you. All right. Now, what happens if something comes up and you know you're going to be gone? So for instance, we have people that in May, they are headed to a college graduation. So they're going to be gone a Sunday in May, and they know this probably April or maybe the end of March. We have this whole thing called blockout dates, and I will get to that because you can just automatically go in and just say, I'm going to be on vacation these dates. I'm going to be at a graduation on these dates. I'm going to be, and you can block those out. So I will show you how to do that in a second. But if you've accepted for a given Sunday and Saturday morning you wake up and you are sicker than sick and then sick and you're running a fever, our policy on sickness is you need to be 24 hours free of a fever before you can come and work with children. So you can go back into that notification on the app or hold on to that email. You can go back to that email and click that red decline, and those are instant notifications back to me or your team leader that you say, hey, I'm running a fever, I shouldn't work with kids. My child has been throwing up all night. I'll get these Sunday morning and we just can't come in. The car got hit by a tree, those kinds of things. So if something comes up, as soon as you can go back into the notifications or back into your email, click on decline, give the reason. I get those, our team leaders get those instantly. The sooner you let us know, the sooner we can start reaching out to people who are in our sub list, and we can start saying, hey, there's a flu bug going, and I've had 3 of my nursery workers all sick. I can't have 0 nursery workers, so can you come and can you sub in? So if you can do that, that is super helpful. Again, I will put a picture of what it looks like on the email that you hit this little arrow and you can reply to us that way, or you can just simply hit decline. And I'm also going to put another video in that will show you and walk you through how to use the Church Center app to communicate back to me if for whatever reason you cannot keep your commitment even though you clicked on accept earlier in the week. So now back to what I discussed, block out dates. Again, these are when you know you're going to be taking a vacation. Like I had a family this past February say, we booked a Hawaii vacation. Woohoo, take me with. They went into blockouts and they blocked out the 2 Sundays they were going to be traveling. And when they did that, it sends me an instant notification, and it also won't let me schedule them. Even if they say, we are every Sunday, you can count on us, it won't let me schedule them because they've blocked those dates out. And so I will put a link in the description of how to block those dates out. And you do that through your Church Center app. It's very quick, it's very simple, and that lets us know. Again, those are for when you're looking out into the future and you know you can't make something. I'm going to be traveling. We're going on a family vacation. There's a family reunion, something of that nature. You block those out, and that helps us not bug you, not schedule you, and we'll look at our schedule and go, oh, 2 of our people have blocked out this Sunday. I need to hunt for subs, and that helps us out tremendously. Now I want to cover what are our expectations for you and our expectations from you. Again, most of this will be in the handbook, but I'm just going to cover some highlights. So first of all, we want you to be a helper in the room. Unless you've communicated that you want to teach a lesson, you are just a helper in the room. You don't have to teach, but when the room teacher and leader says, hey, Paul, can you go and find the dry erase markers so these kids can write things on the dry erase? Yes, I'm a helper. I will go and get those. Hey, Paul, Billy looks like he needs to go to the bathroom. Can you help him? Yes, I can help him go to the bathroom. Susie is saying she's thirsty. Can you help her get a drink? I can help her get a drink. Paul, Can you sit at that table with those boys and help them with their activity? Yes, I can do that. We are asking you to be helpers in the room. Second, when kids are getting dropped off, we ask that you do a couple of things. The first thing you do when you see a child come in and you're going to see their name tags, we ask that on this part over here, the actual tag on the child, you're looking to make sure there's not any allergy alerts or medical alerts on that, so that you are familiar with all these kids. And if there's any kind of special thing that parents have told us, my child carries an EpiPen, my child has a dairy allergy, my child has a gluten allergy, my child can't have any snacks, which means they're on a very restrictive diet. You look for those. So we ask that you do that. And then we ask that you help these child in active play. Just get together with them, play with them. If they're playing with Legos, play with Legos. If they're playing with little Matchbox cars in Matchbox City, play with Matchbox cars. If they're building with the blocks, or they're at the little kitchen, or they're just drawing on the drawing, just play, be with them. Again, leverage everything. We believe that relationship happens before rules can be enforced. And so you build those relationships. Also, make sure that the child's tag stays on them. Sometimes there's clothing articles that don't keep those on, but this tag from the kids is how they get picked up. If you notice, this code right here matches this parent pickup tag here. So, if they are missing this tag with the code, then the parents who have their tag, we don't allow that to be picked up. So we're constantly monitoring. Kids will play with their tags. They'll peel them off, stick them back on, peel them off, stick them back on. They get all kinds of fabric in the glue, and then they don't stay on. If you notice a child is totally missing one, come out to the check-in desk and we can reprint this tag. Next, we again want you to play with the kids. You're not a child monitor. Don't stand in the back and just watch for any emergencies or anything. Play with the kids, interact with the kids. We ask that you assist the kids in anything that they're doing, if it's craft time, if it's coloring time, if they're worshiping, if it's they're playing their game that connects to the lesson. We ask that you participate, because you are role modeling the kind of participation and worshiping free of inhibition that we want these kids to do. We ask that you assist, again, the room leader in any way they ask. We ask that you arrive, and this is very important, 15 minutes before your gathering hour starts. So if you're scheduled for 9:30, we ask that you show up no later than 9:15. And we have some great reasons why. Here's the reason why. Our security system is set up to where if it does not know there are adults in the room, it will not let parents check kids in, which is a good thing because kids can't be corralled in a room under no supervision. But what can happen is if you come and you just walk straight into your room, our system doesn't know, all of a sudden out here at check-ins, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and fuller and fuller and fuller of adults who the system's not letting them check in because it doesn't know there's any adults. So we ask that you come 15 minutes early, check in. You can just go to one of these self-check-in iPads. You can use your app on your phone, the Church Center app, and check yourself in. You go to one of the iPads and scan it and then hit, okay, I'm in, and then head straight to your room. Your room lanyard will be in there. You don't need a print a tag. You can just head into your room, and as soon as you scan that off your phone or at the iPad, you input your cell phone number and click yourself as a volunteer in that room. Then it knows there's an adult in that room and can start letting kids come in. So please, 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 you can see how vitally important it is that you arrive no later than 15 minutes before your gathering hour. And then we ask that you stay in the room until your room leader says you can go. Because, 8 o'clock and then followed by 9:30, which is then followed by 11. If you're at the 9:30 and you're like, oh, it's 10:30, I'm out of here, all of a sudden it's down to just the room leader and say 20 toddlers trying to corral them and check parent tags and talk to parents about anything that needs to be talked about. That can't happen. If you know on a given Sunday you do have to leave early or right at the end of your gathering hour, as soon as you come in that room, go to your room leader and say, hey, we got a family gathering. I have to hightail it out of here right at 10:30 so I can get to that gathering. Your room leader's going to go, yep, good. That's fine. You told me ahead of time. I can go to the other leaders and say, I might need you to stay and hang a little bit longer because, Pastor Hansey has to go out a little early. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But then what we want for you is to have an absolute blast. Again, like I said in the introduction, we want your heart to be warmed by this experience. We want you to sense that God is using you. You're not just child care, your children's ministry to kids and families. You're a part of what Ransom has been asked by God to do in the lives of these families. We hope that you feel that and feel God affirming and valuing what you do. Now we're going to cover some of the things that everybody needs to know that's in our handbook. Again, there's a link in the description. Because you work with minors, we need you to understand these and comply with them to the best of your ability. So some of the things in the handbook are, number one, anyone that is under the age of or the grade of 6th grade, they can serve down here, but their parent has to be in the building. They can't drop their kid off to serve. They have to be accessible to us in the building. We also have a standard of 2 leaders in the room. One of those leaders must be over the age of 18. So there can be a 20-year-old leader and a 7th or 8th grader. That works for us. We do have room ratios, so it would never be like 2 volunteers for 20 toddlers. That wouldn't happen at all. But all of those are set by our computer database. You don't have to worry with it. It knows those room capacities and room ratios, and it won't allow more kids than those are hit. So again, there will always be 2 in a room. Don't ever let it happen that you're the only one in a room. Your room leader should always make sure that there is at least 2. Some of our safety policies that you will also need to know, and again, I'm back to the name tags. These are a part of our safety policy. Again, inside these, if there's any allergy alerts, any special needs of any kind, then if parents have given it to us, we have it print on there. But also you can see there's a parent's cell phone number. That allows us out here at check-in to send a text to that parent. So if ever there's an issue with that child, your room leader will say, hey, take the tag off the child, take it out to the main check-in area. And that allows us then to send a text to that parent. The other thing is if they don't respond to the text, and you might have been in the adult worship and you'll see pop up on screen this code number here. That's just another way for parents, because they have this parent pickup tag, to know we need them down here for one of their children. So the tag is super important. Again, it's also part of our security system. If someone comes to pick up Allie and they don't have this pickup tag to match this code up here, they don't get the child. Your room leader knows that they absolutely have to match. We have had some non-custodial parents come down when all the other parents kind of relying on the confusion and just the crowds to say, oh, my child, Allie, okay, I'm here to take them. And we will never hand Allie over to anyone that does not have the matching codes. And these change every week, every family, and so they're never duplicates. Again, they're time-stamped. You can see their time stamp for the Sunday and the gathering hour. So they can't just find one and use one to randomly grab a child. If a parent loses this, you send them back out here to the main check-in station, and we can go through our systems to reapprove them being able to go and pick up their child. I know it delays it, but it's just a good lesson for those parents to never lose these. A lot of them will take that off and stick it on themselves somewhere so that they don't lose it. That's very, very important. We also ask that you make sure that the child doesn't lose their name tag, like I said before, because of all these reasons. Now also, during drop-off and pickup, that's why we have these tags, because they absolutely have to match. We do one more step of good customer service to our parents in that once you've matched the numbers, then you take the child's name tag off the child before they exit your room. What happens is, if this tag is on their clothing and it goes through the wash, it leaves glue permanently in. It just never is ever gonna come out. And so as a service to these families, we take the tag off the child after we've matched those codes. Now, the next thing is food and beverages in the room. We do not allow kids, except in the nursery, to bring any food or beverage in the room. Allergies, someone could bring in a snack and a kid with a peanut allergy, now we have a problem. Even if a child is getting a snack out of their own little whatever, other kids who might not have gotten breakfast well, now I'm hungry. So we don't allow that of any kind. We don't allow any beverages. I know that they can get beverages upstairs and then bring them down, but we've had to say no. No to water bottles, because they will take those water bottles and they'll start crinkle them during the Bible story or during small group. So nope, you can't bring the water bottle in. We don't let them bring hot chocolate in. We've had kids with hot chocolate get bumped and all of a sudden the lid pops off and the person next to them gets scalding hot and clothes-staining hot chocolate all over them. We've had them sit it on the floor and someone is running around playing a game, doesn't see it, kicks it over, and now we've stained the carpet. So no hot chocolate and no sugary pops. It's just not a good idea. Again, we've had them get shaken and spurt on kids. We've had them get jostled and get mellow yellow, which stains clothes, or Coke, it stains clothes. They've sat them on the floor, they've gotten knocked over, they've sat them under their chair, they get knocked over. So if a kid tries to come in a room with those, the answer is nope. You can take them out and let them stay at the check-in desk, but you cannot bring them in the room. A lot of times, we'll just take a Sharpie out here at check-in and write their names on it, and they can pick it up when they retrieve it. But eventually it coaches parents as well to just not have it, because we are having to disappoint parents when they bring their kids, and parents should partner with us and just not have snacks and beverages for their kids. The exception to that is nursery. If a parent has a certain snack or a certain formula that their child can have, they get a diaper tag. So it's not just a kid's name tag, it's a diaper bag tag, and then that can go on their child's diaper bag. And then if they'll say at drop-off, my child can have the Cheerios in their diaper bag, or we've got a special gluten-free, peanut-free, something of that nature in there that they can have, because we provide organic Cheerios in our nursery, but not every parent wants their child to have that. And so they might have a specific, their child might have a specific formula and bottle in their bag. And how do you know? Because that diaper bag has a diaper bag tag on it, which also means at pickup, when they pick up little Susie, they'll say, oh, Susie had a diaper bag. But there was a special at Walmart selling diaper bags, and you can have 4 identical diaper bags hanging along the diaper bag wall in the nursery. Which one is Susie's? Oh, it's the one with the diaper bag tag. And so you can get that there. Sometimes they'll have a special security blanket kind of thing that's in that bag, and parents will say at drop off. If they get cantankerous, you can do that. Also, if you do work in the nursery or in toddlers, we only allow a child to be unconsolable for about 10-ish minutes. Your room leader will know that and sense that. And so if, say, in the nursery a child is just screaming uncontrollably, separation anxiety is super high, after about 8 minutes, you bring the child's tag out to the check-in desk, and we will page that parent to come down. And we always tell new parents to nursery that we do this, and they can come down and they can retrieve their child. If there's a medical emergency, also bring the tag out and we will page the child. So that happens there, but no food or drink. But for you, the volunteer, we want you to be able to have your snack. I'm a snacker, and so you can have your snack, you can have your coffee. Just please make sure it's in a non-spillable form. Please also make sure, if there's any kind of nuts in it. We have some kids that are ultra sensitive to nuts of that. So, please don't bring those kind down. But put yours on the counter. In every single room, there's a spot for you as the team members and volunteers to put your stuff, your bags, your bottles, all that stuff. You can have those, but they have to be in a location where kids can have access to it, because we want you to be able to stay hydrated and energized. All right, next is our bathroom and diaper changing policy. We get asked this all the time by some parents, and then our team members, our volunteers, they're always curious, what is the policy? So in South Dakota, men and women can assist kids, sort of, in changing diapers and in helping with bathrooms. So let me detail how that happens here in South Dakota. In our nursery, it's an open environment and there are cameras in the nursery room. A male can change a diaper, irregardless of the gender of that child, because it's in public view and there's cameras. If you are in toddlers and a child has a pull-up or something of that nature, they soil themselves because they didn't make it to the bathroom in time, a male can assist a male as long as another team member is visibly present. They can see you at all times. That's protection for you. If a child needs assistance in a bathroom, a male can help a male child as long as another team member can see you. So for instance, in our toddler rooms, they have their own toddler tiny little toilets, and they can use those because they're in the potty training mode. A male can help a boy, but they can't do it alone. There's no cameras in the bathrooms. So if I'm helping a toddler, I will say to another female or male leader, hey, can you keep an eye on me? And there's a door right across from the toddler bathrooms where they can stand at their door, so they're kind of partially in the toddler room, but they're also partially there in the toddler hallway, so they can always see me if a child needs assistance in the toddler bathroom. For preschool, if a child goes to the bathroom, you have to take the child to the bathroom because we don't have preschool bathrooms. But when you come out into the hallway with a child, you grab one of the check-in volunteers and say, hey, can you watch me with a child? So again, a male can help a male child in the bathroom as long as you, the male team member, are visible by one of our check-in or gatekeepers at all times. A female can help a male or female preschooler in the bathroom, but you still need to be visible by one of our check-in teams or our gatekeepers at all times. If you are a female in preschool, and you are going to be taking a boy to the bathroom, you come out here. Again, you can stand in the bathroom doorway while that boy is going to the bathroom. If for whatever reason that boy says, I need help, I can't do whatever, you make sure one of the gatekeepers and check-in persons out here is visibly standing in the doorway of the bathroom watching you help that boy. Same thing for a girl. Just never ever assist a child in a bathroom where you cannot be seen by another adult. That is protection for you. There's no cameras in our bathrooms, but then if there's an eyewitness that no, you did nothing impropriety to a child, then that's protection to you. If you are uncomfortable with any of this, with diaper changing or bathroom policies, simply say that to your room leader and they will find someone else to assist a child. Now, we do have a couple of things that do happen all the time, and we fill out legal reports. We have an incident report and an ouch report. So if a child for the ouch report gets hurt in any way, shape, or fashion beyond just a little, hey, let's wash the cut and put a Band-Aid on it. If there's something, sometimes a child will accidentally trip and fall and they can bruise or get whatever, then we fill out an ouch report. If it's a significant nature and that child needs their parent, that's where, again, you bring the tag out to the check-in station and we can use that cell number to send a message to that parent. But if you are the eyewitness or you're the one that brought them to the bathroom, washed a good cut and all that good stuff, we will ask that you fill out an ouch report. The incident report is for when a child divulges information that we need to probably call Child Protective Services. It's again, we're working with minors and it doesn't happen often, but it can happen and we are mandated reporters. So the incident report, we would ask that you fill it out. What was the child? What was the occasion that they spoke this to? What did they exactly say? And then you give that to us and we will follow up with that. You don't have to call CPS. You don't have to call the parents. We will handle that as well. So just so that you know, we have those two reports, ouch report and incident report, if those things happen. And your room leader kind of knows what reports would have to happen. Now, last but not least, our emergency policies and procedures. So if there's an active shooter, if there's a tornado warning, if there is an evacuation of the building for fire or something of that nature, we have those policies, and they are unique to every age environment room that we have because these rooms are spread out all throughout. And so you will notice when you are in your room, the emergency evacuation procedure is posted on the doorway so that you can quickly visually see, the direction in which you would go if there's an evacuation. But we ask that you go through our emergency policies and procedures so that you're familiar. The last thing you want to do is panic because you don't know what to do if the fire alarm's going off or if the active shooter, intruder alert is going off. You need to know what to do. We've created a whole separate training video that has an introduction, so you would want to watch that, and I put a link in the description. And then there's chapter markers for each of the age environments you're in. So you don't have to watch all of it. You just need to watch that introduction and then chapter mark, go to, I only work in nursery, so I'll watch the 20-minute nursery one. I only work in 4th and 5th, so I'll go to 4th and 5th grade and only watch those. But we do ask that you watch those, that you're familiar with those, and therefore, you're not freaking out, not knowing what should I do. We want to remain calm and we want to follow our policies. So those are in that video. A link is in the description. All right, that wraps it up. Hopefully, if you have learned all this, it all makes sense. If it doesn't, again, I'm just an email away, phancy@ransom.church. And we would love to sit down and chat, take you out to coffee, anything that will help you do this ministry successfully. We hope also that you find this is a ministry that God is using you, empowering you, you sense His power and His presence, and that you also find camaraderie and biblical community with team members in your age environment. Thank you for watching this. Any questions, any concerns, or you just want to have coffee with Pastor Fancy, I love coffee, or you something else, I'll buy you whatever. You just reach out to me, phancy at Ransom Church, phancy at ransom.church. All right, love you guys. Bye.